Nier Automata is one of the weirdest, kookiest, coolest, and most eccentric games I've played all year, but it's definitely not for everybody. Part-time shooter, twin-stick shooter, 2D platformer, and full-time action role-playing game, Nier is a great example of a game that excels at ingenuity. A game that, on the fly, transforms itself into whatever the situation calls for. But did it translate into success? The development of Nier Automata is a very interesting story that begins with the rise, the fall, and the resurrection of its developer, Platinum Games. A rocky journey that nearly crippled the developer, and one that would culminate in the release of the highly anticipated action role-playing game, Nier Automata. Nier's developer, Platinum Games, is a story that needs to be told before venturing any further. Much revered for their work on the yesteryear classics such as Bayonetta, Metal Gear Rising, and The Wonderful 101, it's also a studio that has a very unsteady position in the market. They create niche games for small audiences. For every amazing compliment, praise, or glowing review, each game must also climb the very steep gauntlets of showing people that they are games worth buying. After all, how do you even begin to describe The Wonderful 101, Bayonetta, or Nier Automata? This problem is often referred to as market presence, or how well a company can communicate the message of what they are selling and what it does. Does Platinum Games do that very well? The offerings of Platinum Games are often very confusing games, heavily influenced by Eastern tropes and trends. The palates of Western gamers, mind you, are very different from our overseas Japanese friends, and sometimes they do clash. Thus, Platinum's games end up being praised religiously by the few and purchased by the few. It's then no surprise that Platinum Games was on the verge of being shut down before the release of Nier Automata. It had been a very rocky history for the company after its initial smash success games, following up with the quite terrible Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan, and the straight-up awful Star Fox Zero. Perhaps coincidence or perhaps not, then President Tetsuya Minami stepped down the day Star Fox Zero came out. It was a very dark time for Platinum Games. There was a light at the end of the tunnel, however, a highly anticipated game called Scalebound. Unfortunately, as fate would have it, it was cancelled in January of 2017 for unknown reasons, 1 month before the release of its next big game. And thus, when Nier Automata finally got around to releasing, it was a very unnerving time for Platinum Games. On August 13th, a tweet emerged by none other than Nier's director, and translating from Japanese to English, Nier Automata saved Platinum Games from going bankrupt. In 2 months, Nier sold 1 million copies on all systems, and that number rose to 1.5 million by April 21st. This was all confirmed in an official financial briefing report made public by Square Enix. As of today, that number has surpassed 2 million and is showing no signs of slowing down. There are currently 585,000 registered PC users on Steam, accounting for around 30% of the total sales of the game. So yeah, the majority of players are on the PlayStation 4 as you would expect with a larger audience. Nier Automata was praised for its creativity, amazing controls, and its overall audio-visual experience. There is no denying that Nier is a beautiful game, accompanied by one of the best soundtracks of the year. It's a breathtaking experience and a treat for the eyes and the ears. Nier was also a very living game, encouraging multiple playthroughs to acquire the 26 alternate endings, 5 of them being the missing pieces that would fill in the puzzling story. A tale of the Earth being overtaken by alien machines, causing humanity to seek refuge on the moon, leaving humanoid androids behind to reclaim their home. At least I think. It's a very perplexing and often intriguing story that evolves over many hours, during which time the dialogue and the struggles of 2B and 9S can be very heartwarming, others funny and charming. But a game is only as good as its foundation, and PC players were in for a real surprise with Nier Automata. The PC port of this game has got to be up there with one of the worst ever created. If not for the jolty and unstable frame rates, or the bugs and the glitches and the crashes, it's Nier's unthinkably bad aspect ratio design that has ruined the experience for many players. To put it simply, you can't really play Nier on the resolution you want because of how the engine handles upscaling. To this day, there has not been a single patch to fix any of these issues, nor have I been able to enjoy Nier at native 2K resolution. It's so bad on the PC front that you literally have to fix it yourself by downloading a third-party add-on. This glaring issue overshadows pretty much everything else wrong with Nier: the confusing chip system that was a mess for new players, the long loading times, and a combat which you could argue is a little bit too one-dimensional. But when the smoke clears, Nier Automata is a great game for many, hampered by such terrible technology. As such, Steam users were far less forgiving than those rating the game on the PlayStation 4. Nier Automata is an example of when a beautiful, interesting game gets shameful PC treatment. I can guarantee you that this trend would not have been so steep had Square Enix released a patch to fix the issues of the game, a game that I 100% believe deserves better than to be slapped together for the PC crowd. Love it or hate it, it's an inspiring game that will be looked back on fondly by many of us, and if we ignore its port issues just for a second, it's a huge success story of the game that rescued Platinum Games from sinking to the bottom of the sea for good. Thanks for watching, guys. Would love to hear your thoughts on Nier, as I know it's a fairly controversial game, and if you like this video, thumbs it up and consider checking out my Patreon. Every donation helps keep this channel afloat. Have a great day, guys, and we'll see you in our next video.